We use it every single day. We fill our cars with it, we heat our homes with it. But have you ever really stopped to think about where oil and gas come from? Well, today we're going to trace that incredible multi-million-year journey all the way from ancient life buried under the sea to the fuel that powers our world.
Okay, sure, it comes from the gas station down the street. But its real origin story, it is so much more amazing than that. It's a story of deep time, incredible pressure, and some seriously high-tech treasure hunting.
So to really get this, we can't start with pumps or pipelines. No, our story starts in a world long before humans even existed. We've got to go way, way back to the time of ancient oceans. Just try to picture it. These vast, ancient seas just teeming with tiny little plants and animals. Now, as all these organisms died, they sank down to the seafloor. And over millions of years, they got buried under layer after layer of mud and silt, building up and up and up.
So you've got this ancient seabed, and with all that weight on top of it, it basically turns into a giant geological pressure cooker. The heat and pressure get so intense that they literally cook all that old organic stuff. And this is where the magic happens, inside what geologists call source rock, the literal birthplace of petroleum.
Now here's the thing. Oil and gas don't just stay put. They're lighter than the rock around them, so they start to migrate upwards, searching for a way out. Eventually, they hit a layer of rock that's impermeable, what's called a cap rock, and they can't go any further. They get trapped, collecting in all the tiny little holes of the porous rock below, which acts just like a giant pressurized sponge, holding on to all that liquid gold.
Okay, so that's the ancient history. Let's hit the fast-forward button to today and see how in the world we actually find these hidden pockets of energy. It really is like a modern-day treasure hunt, using geology and some unbelievably cool technology.
You know, finding oil isn't about just getting lucky. It's a super systematic process. First, geologists are on the ground, studying the surface for any clues. Then things get high-tech. Geophysical crews use what are basically giant thumper trucks to send powerful sound waves deep into the earth. By listening to the echoes, they can build a 3D map of everything underground. But even with the best map in the world, there's only one way to know for sure.
And this is where it gets really, really high stakes. All the surveys, all the maps, they can point you to the perfect spot. But until you actually drill a well, sometimes miles and miles deep, you just don't know. You could hit a massive reservoir, or you could end up with a very, very expensive dry hole. So once a promising location gets the green light, the absolutely monumental task of drilling begins. And this is where you see some truly incredible feats of engineering.
A modern drilling rig is just amazing. It's like a symphony of powerful connected systems. You've got massive engines generating all the power. You have a hoisting system that can lift and lower miles of heavy steel pipe. You have the rotating system that actually spins the drill bit to chew through solid rock. But you know what? Maybe the most critical part of it all is the circulating system, because everything has to work together perfectly.
And that circulating system pumps something you might not expect: drilling mud. And listen, this isn't just dirt and water. It is a highly engineered, specialized fluid that does 3 critical jobs all at once. It cools down the intensely hot drill bit, it carries all the crushed rock chips back up to the surface, and its sheer weight creates enough pressure to keep the hole from collapsing in on itself. It is the absolute unsung hero of the entire operation.
All right, so we found the oil, we've drilled the well, the treasure is finally coming to the surface. But what is it that's actually coming out of the ground?
Yeah, it's definitely not the clean, refined stuff you're picturing. It's this messy, pressurized mix of crude oil, natural gas, salt water, and sand. It's completely unusable like this. Before it can become anything, it all has to be separated.
And this is where the surface processing facilities take over. That raw mixture flows from the well into these big tanks called separators. The entire goal here is to start untangling that jumbled up mix of oil, gas, and water.
So how do they do it?
Well, the very first step is based on a principle that is surprisingly simple: gravity. Inside that big separator tank, the flow slows way down, and that lets the mixture just settle out naturally based on density. Gas is the lightest, so it bubbles up to the top. Water is the heaviest, so it sinks to the bottom. And the crude oil, it floats right there in the middle. It's almost exactly like letting a bottle of salad dressing sit on the counter.
But that first separation? That's really just the beginning of the cleanup. To get to what we call pipeline-quality oil and gas,
the products need to be purified even more. This final stage is all about purification, getting rid of all the junk. Any little bits of water that are still mixed in with the oil have to be removed. That's called dehydration. Corrosive salts get washed out. Then they remove sulfur compounds, which can make oil and gas sour, in a process they actually call sweetening. And finally, for the natural gas, they strip out all the water vapor. If you don't, it can form these ice-like plugs called hydrates that can completely block a pipeline. And this entire complex process, from ancient sea life to a final pure product, is happening right now at over 40,000 oil fields scattered all across the globe. Every single one of them is the end point of this incredible journey through geologic time and human ingenuity. From a single, tiny organism millions of years ago to a refined product ready for a pipeline, it is an absolutely massive undertaking for every single drop. The real question is, after all that, what journey does it power next?